Tea tourism in the foothills of the Himalayas of North Bengal. Tea, a flavored beverage which develops a certain time and creates an ambience where you can have an experience and a reason to come together, share your thoughts, converse with each other in a family or social gatherings. Almost all tea leaves and tea types come from the single species of plant. The scientific name for that plant is Camellia sinensis. People all over the world have been drinking tea for thousands of centuries and for good reason. Numerous studies have shown that a variety of teas may boost your immune system, fight off inflammation, and even ward off cancer and heart disease. The primary types of tea are black tea, green tea, white tea, oolong tea, purple tea, and herbal infusions. Tea contains antioxidants. Tea has less caffeine than coffee. Tea may reduce your risk of heart attack and stroke. Tea may help with weight loss. Tea may help protect your bones and several other benefits. Indians start off their day with a refreshing good cup of tea and newspaper. In Bengal, it is usually the liquid tea or the lal cha served with biscuits. In Gujarat, it is the masala chai with some added ginger and local herbs. Rajasthani people like it with lots of milk and saffron. Tea tourism is the practice of traveling around the world and visiting organic green tea plantations, which provides a great deal of enjoyment. Tea tourism is defined as tourism that is motivated by an interest in the history, traditions, and consumption of tea. Tourists can also learn about local cultures through related rituals and ceremonies, visiting attractive sites and cultivation trails. Tea tourism provides travelers with the opportunity to interact with nature, wildlife, and simultaneously extract the goodness of cultural diversity. The significance of tea tourism in India is massive, as it has a dual impact by creating a regional tea market and securing jobs for tea laborers who works in tea estates and the tea factories. Tea tourism should be included in the mainstream tour packages through a variety of activities promoting sightseeing and other forms of entertainment and tourism experiences. A proper planning is required for making tea tourism more attractive and developed in India. During the British era, tea exports started on a huge scale. Until date, India is one of the finest tea makers in the world. Whether you love your tea strong, lightly brewed, or even with lot of milk, there is no denying that you enjoy exploring these avenues. Tea is something that you can find in all Indian homes. Wouldn't it be great to visit places where it all begins? Tea estates on rolling hill slopes and colonial comfort in fabulous bungalows with a hot cup of the finest blend of aromatic tea amidst nature's beauty is a delight for all tourists. Tranquility everywhere, interrupted only by chirping of birds and gurgling of streams and waterfalls. The colorfully clad tea walkers gently plucking the famous two leaves and a bud is what the tourist gets to watch in tea estates while trekking through the tea gardens, as well as the tree processing procedure in nearby tea factories. Tea estates spread over thousands of acres in the Himalayan foothills or in the Nilgiris. India, one of the top tea producers in the world, is experimenting with tea tourism. Tea tourism is a fast-growing concept in the eastern Himalayas, mainly in the Darjeeling hills and towards foothills. The accommodation is in the original managers' bungalows, which are usually well-preserved old colonial structures. There are scores of tea plantations across the state of West Bengal, but Darjeeling houses some of the finest teas. The classic Darjeeling tea leaves grown and processed here have a fan following across the world. Tea tourism in Darjeeling. The West Bengal government has made space for tea tourism, which allows tourists to come and experience living in tea estates, plucking tea leaves, brewing fresh Darjeeling tea, and immersing themselves in the local tea culture, which is an extremely wonderful and rewarding experience. The backdrop of the snow-capped mountains, in contrast with the lush green tea leaves, is a sight to behold, and you will be reminded of it each time you sip a cup of Darjeeling tea. Tea tourism being a relatively new concept in the world, Darjeeling is taking a lead in this area. Darjeeling is, after all, the Mecca of tea. Everyone's tour to Darjeeling is incomplete without experiencing tea gardens. The Queen of Hills, Darjeeling, one of India's most popular hill stations, is surrounded by several emerald green tea estates. Around 25% of India's total tea output comes from Darjeeling itself. Historic colonial bungalows turned hotels can be found. Most tea estates are located just north of the town and offer guided tea factory tour in various parts of Darjeeling. The best time to visit is March to November, the season for tea plucking. Some of the gardens are set close to the forests, and nature-based tourism such as birdwatching is a good option. Following are some of the best tea tourism options in the Darjeeling Hills and adjacent Doors area. Tea tour in Glenburn Tea Estate. The Glenburn tea plantation is set high aloft a hill above the banks of the river Rangit, set against the panoramic view of the mighty Himalayas. The plantation was founded in 1859 by a Scottish tea company. It was later bought by the India's pioneering tea planting family, the Prakashas, known fondly today as the tea planters of India. Glenburn remains an active tea plantation till date. Glenburn is a private tea estate that makes use of both traditional and modern techniques of tea harvesting and brewing. Tours begin at the tea factory, where tourists are given an overview of the entire process of tea making to the moment it is served to you in a beautifully decorated porcelain tea cup. The tea tour ends with a refreshing tea tasting session that includes a range of black, green, oolong and white teas. After the tea tasting, tourists can explore the walking tea estate, stroll across the vast fields and see how the herbs, spices and local organic are grown, and learn about the local community and see the 4,000 families that live there. Tourists can experience the view of the world's third largest magnificent mountain, Kanchenjunga, enjoy mountain activities, guided hiking, angling in River Rangit, and feast on delightful Indian, Oriental and Western cuisine. Within its 1,600 acres, Glenburn has forests that are a birdwatcher's paradise. Tourists are accommodated in one of the two bungalows, each comprising 4 suites and common areas, gardens, verandas and terraces accessible to all our guests. The Burra Bungalow and the Water Lily Bungalow. You taste the teas, learn about the local community and see the 4,000 families that live there. Tea Estate of Makaibari. Makaibari is in Karshiang, which is the land of the white orchid. It is a family-owned tea estate that has its ownership transformed over the past 4 generations. In 1859, Girish Chandra founded the Makaibari estate in the Darjeeling Hills and even set up the world's first tea factory. The current owner is his great-grandson Raja Banerjee, who is selling 90% stake to the Dipankar Chatterjee-led Lakshmi Group, valued at over rupees 20 crore. At present, the estate is owned and run by Raja Banerjee. Ever since he got his hands on the tea estate, various developments have been seen in the status of Makaibari. Due to his efforts, the concept of organic farming came into the limelight, which later on became the major trait of tea processing at Makaibari. Makaibari also holds the honor of establishing the world's first tea factory in the year 1859. The tea estate is rooted in rich history, beauty and produces some of the finest teas in India. It was certified as the first biodynamic garden in the world. Makaibari has pioneered organic, fair trade and and biodynamic practices to tea and tropical agriculture. Makaibari has some unique features. It has its own forest cover with 6 tiers of forest having a variety of wild animals and birds. Our forests are home to Bengal tigers, leopards, deers, boar, reptiles and over 300 bird species, with the pied hornbill ruling the roost insects. The garden's pride is the tea deva, the mimetic insect looking like a tea leaf first sighted in 1990. One can taste the finest of its aromatic amber brews but experience tea as a way of life. The aroma of tea around is invigorating. The factory tour is quite informative. Its uniqueness appears to be the pricey brew of moonlight silver tips tea leaves that are harvested between midnight and 3 a.m. Activities in Makaibari for the tourist. Tour of the tea gardens, which includes walking through the tea bushes, watching the tea pluckers and conversing with them. Tour to the tea factory, how tea is processed from drying to packing and tea tasting. Taking amateurs ride through the mountains, beautiful valleys, villages and having a glimpse of the village life in the mountains. Experiencing the wildlife and the bird watching. A toy train ride to Kershing to Darjeeling railway station and back. A local cultural dance program is arranged in the evening. Accommodation. Makaibari has the stone house, which is the heritage building of the colonial days, with 4 luxury bedrooms. Homestays are also arranged by the tea workers in their own styled homes. Staying at Makaibari, one can explore different destinations of Karshan town with its important tourist destinations and experience the famous 150 years old Darjeeling Himalayan Railway. Poobong Tea Estate and Tourism. The tea estate is located near Shukya Pokri and Ghum, can be viewed at the southern slopes of Shukya Pokri Ghum Road. It is 8 kilometers away from Ghum railway station and 13 kilometers from Darjeeling town. The name Poobong means a valley behind clouds, and the title is apt as this area is always covered in thick mist of clouds. It's a picturesque winding road through pine trees and giant ferns. If you are lucky on a cloudy or foggy day, you will drive through a curtain of mist all the way. The road is safe and so is the resort. It is ideal for a family or group of friends. Poobong has 2 divisions, tea estate and bus tea. Certified to organic tea producer and Rainforest Alliance under IMO control. Keeping environment and health concern in mind, the Poobong Tea Company is shifting from inorganic to organic tea farming practices, which don't rely on synthetic pesticides and fertilizers to maintain a high yield and to keep all teas free from synthetic chemicals. When you're buying product of the company, you're investing in good health, a better tea and a better earth as a more human face of the industry. The industry is a labor-intensive one and the workforce mostly constitutes hereditary and from humble background. A major part of our workforce lives in the accommodation provided by the company with their families, and the company maintains cordial relationship with its workforce. Company fully comprises with the social welfare laws enacted for tea plantation workers in India, which are most stringent in the world. It provides for adequate welfare and recreational facilities for laborers and take pride in maintaining the same. The tea flushes of Poobong are mostly of pure cultivar and they are known to produce some of the finest Darjeeling teas. Orthodox loose tea leaves of Poobong are certified as 100% bio-organic. First flush tea, which is from March to mid-May, second flush tea mid-May to July end, and green tea in August. Activities for tourists. You can stroll through the tea bushes and watch the tea planters who pluck the best of tea leaves. You can take a trek to the waterfalls, trek to origin of Balasan River adjacent to the resort. Tour to the tea factory where the tourist can watch the whole tea processing, withering, rolling, fermenting or oxidation, drying or firing, sorting, and finally packing of the black tea and green teas. After that, the tourist can have an experience of tea tasting. Staying at the Poobong Tea Garden Resort. The Poobong Tea Garden Resort is a 1835 two-storied plantation house surrounded by hills on all sides, having 4 very large rooms with simple decor. There are 3 rooms in first floor and 1 on the ground floor. There is also a lounge in the ground floor. Each room has a huge bathroom with modern facilities. Each room has at least 2 large windows. Each window opens to the pine forest or the hills that give you an imposing feeling of space around you and let you forget your daily worries. Each room opens to the sprawling lawn. You can just sit in the lawn for breakfast or lunch and keep listening to the chirping of birds and crickets. You also hear the waterfalls pouring from the northern hills. Enjoy the luxury of breathing fresh air, watching sky full of stars at night. The resort also provides pick and drop service and local tours on request. In the evenings, the tourists can enjoy the warmth of the bonfire in the lawn area arranged by the resort workers for providing refreshment to the tourists. That's all for today's video. Hope you liked our Poobong Tea Garden and the Poobong Resort of the colonial times. You can visit our website and call us at the number is given over here. Thank you. Bye.